there, welcome to see how I use my Woodland stencils. Now these are the ones that I designed for my book Cyril's Cake Adventure, which is available on my website, and I took them to the wonderful guys at Vanilla Valley who transformed my drawings into the stencils. So here I'm using a little bit of coconut oil to smear all over my iced board. I was just showing you quickly the stencils there. Now all you need to do is you need to lay them down on your board. So I'm going to show you a couple of other pictures as well. There's the sketches, look, that I did for the other two, because I've also done animals and woodland flowers as well. So they're all over on the website, so you can go and have a look at those. And they so kindly wrote all the names of them, of the flowers as well. So roll over your stencil now. What this does is two things. First of all, it masks off where you don't want the colour to go. And second of all, and even better, it raises it up. So you get texture in there as well. So that colour you just saw me using there is some Sarajevo brown, and it's a dry paintbrush. Now what I think is so great about this method is if you can't paint, I've done all the drawing for you. And if you can't paint, another thing I've done is by putting all of the lovely coconut oil on there, when we dry dust, it makes it look like paint. So it's really quite a clever little technique. Now, can you see there's every now and again, there's a stripe going over a tree trunk. That's because this was designed to go around a cake, just like the front cover cake you can see there, which was a 6-inch round cake and obviously taller than it was wide. But if it hadn't had those little straps there, then the gap would have been too big. I remember pumpkin mistakes I've done over the years. So I'm basically just filling in. Now I do apologise, this was back in my early YouTube days and I didn't have all the lovely Archon mounts and things that I've got now. So I do apologise about the wobble. Now the other thing that's brilliant about this, please don't go smooth. Go patchy, go rough, stab it on, stroke the paint on or the dust on. You really want to get lots of different shades in there. And by going over an area twice, it'll get darker. And if you avoid an area or only go over there lightly, obviously you're going to get a lighter shade. So this is why these trees already look like I've painted. I haven't picked up any paint. It's amazing. So just dust colours. So as I said, this was the Sarajevo brown. Now there's glorious browns out there, aren't there? There's fractal colours, there's magic colours, there's Renshaw, there's rainbow dust, there's sugar flare. You use whatever brands you tend to use, okay? So I'm just going in there now, just finishing off, making sure I've got all those browns that I want to get in. So you can see the book in the top right hand corner, and you can also see the stencils. Now today I'm only showing you the one part, but it's actually a 2-part stencil. So other colours you can use for this, you can use chestnut, you can use bulrush. They're both by Squire's Kitchen and are great colours. Lightly go over the leaf area. Now I drew in falling leaves down on the floor because I thought that would be a really great thing to add. Because whenever you see a woodland scene, there's always leaves on the floor, isn't there? So let's get some leaves down on that floor. Now they can be any colour you like, so you can have the yellows, the oranges, the reds if it's at the start of autumn. I've just gone for a traditional woodland. So that's a bit of leaf green, that's chestnut, that's bulrush. So these are the Squire's Kitchen colours. I'm going to start off with the chestnut there, so that's what I was just telling you. But I've also got some lemon yellow as well. So you always start off, any of your greenery, I always start off with yellow because I'm kind of figuring it'll just give a little bit of difference to mine. You can also add a citrus in, so if you haven't got any decent citrus colours, add a little bit of lemon yellow to your green. Oh yeah, guess who forgot a tree stump? So I've got a tiny bit of that leaf green in with our lemon yellow now. So now it's giving me different shades again, and can you see it is the scruffiest, oldest brush I could find in the cupboard. Straight in with the leaf green now. There's also a really lovely citrus green, and there's a spring green as well. So you choose the shades for you, but they're all written down in the book for the actual ones that I used on the cake. So the cake you can see in the front cover, but this obviously was a super fast version that we just did online. So this was previously a Facebook Live, so as I mentioned, please, apologies for the wobbly camera. Bit of holly ivy goes in at the base of the bushes. You could also use moss green or foliage green. You just want to darken down the base of those bushes, isn't it? And I do keep going over patches, so I've now pulled out the chestnut. So I'm dusting a little bit of chestnut onto the fallen leaves area. And I think it gives you that impression that the leaves haven't been there forever. They're not like dark grey and brown. Also add in a little bit of that chestnut or a bit of brown to the base of the leaves as well. Now, what you might not see from the YouTube there is the 3 leaves down to the base of that largest tree on the right hand side are actually ferns. Oh, you can see my colour palette. So I obviously did put a bit of red. You can't really see it in this video, and it was ages ago. But I just wanted to sort of let you have a little look, really. Here I'm getting a smaller brush, and I'm going in and just adding in some bits of bulrush, some bits of black, because black looks really great if you add in. Can you see how much darker that looks? Really sorry for the wobble. I've got way better mounts now to put my cameras on. This is surprisingly not that long ago. So the book was released in November 2019. So it's not actually that old, and this was just after the book came out. I'm peeling off my stencil, and look at that. Look how clean it is where the stencil was covering. Now obviously we're going to go in and change that, so don't worry. The first thing we're going to do is get the same brush, the same dust colours, and all of those fixing lines that you always get on a stencil. Look at that, like magic, you can dust them away completely. I absolutely love that part of it. So I'll skip through some of this because, as you can see, there's an awful lot of lines for me to join up, and you just join them up with your Saracino brown, your Squire's Kitchen chestnut, your Squire's Kitchen bulrush. Whatever colours you've put down somewhere are the same colours that you use, and you don't even have to be neat because you're going to be dusting greens on there as well. So I'm adding a little bit more onto the tree because, you know, a tree trunk can never have enough colour. I love brown and green. There we go, so just filling in these bits. Now there's other sections that you can do as well. Now you can also do this with cocoa butter. So Squire's Kitchen and Saracino both do really nice cocoa butters. Saracino's comes in a block and Squire's Kitchen's comes in these lovely little nibs or callets. And you can just put a few on a plate. I've actually got an aluminium pink palette that I put over a bowl of boiling water. A little bit of black mixed with white. Now let's just go back to basics. You don't even have to buy greys. You can use black and white mixed together, and then you can add in more black or more white to get the colour shade that you need. But you can see I'm stippling that colour on the base. And the reason I'm stippling it is because I don't want it to go too neat and too even. Think where as well the shadows would be in the trees. Here I'm just dusting a little bit of green in the background, and this, how should we say it, it represents shrubs that are a little bit further away than the ones in the foreground. You still got to get some shadows in there as well. So there's a bit more to do, and I know this is sped up, but I think it was about 45 minutes that I did this piece in full time, and there was a lot of chat, so I've edited out all the chat for you. This was actually a Facebook Live for lovely friends Sarah, Lou and Howie. There we go. Can you see just going in all the gaps where you would imagine there to be green? That's where the green's going to go. But what I always do when I do forestry, I leave a gap because I know you need to go in and get the sun in, and you need to get the sky if you can see it. But there's always this hazy white bit, isn't there? Sometimes that's a bit yellow looking, sometimes it's a bit grey looking. And the leaves of the further shrubs always fade out to the distance. So don't go too heavy on those other colours. Now you might think, why on earth is she getting rid of all of these lines? Well, it makes it look more like a painting, doesn't it? Now you can get in there deeper. I go over the areas that I did the woodland floor, and I just lightly dust with whatever colours I fancy using. So here I was using a bit of chestnut again. And I just wanted to look like the leaves actually belong on the floor and they're not just stenciled. So I don't know if you can see, Stencil 2 has actually got the canopy for the trees, and it's also got some gorgeous little, they're not a bluebell, but I based them on white bluebells, which we see when we go to the woodlands. One of the pictures in the book was actually a photograph I took in the Forest of Dean. So, and that's the one where Cyril the squirrel is against a woodland background. So that's in the Forest of Dean in the UK. So I'm adding some dark colour in now, but you can also go in there with some cocoa butter mixed. So you heat your cocoa butter up on that palette I mentioned, you pop in some of your dust colours, you can put a bit of white in as well, just to sort of make the colours a bit more opaque and less translucent. But you can go in there and you can add depth to the shrubs. You can also use alcohol to paint on, but because of the coconut oil on there, I like to use the cocoa butter as well, because that's oily as well, isn't it? But it still means I can smear these colours around really nicely. And I know I've missed a few branches there, but as I say, this was just a demonstration. So I'm going in with a bit of holly ivy now, just to get some darker green patches. You want it to look believable, so you need lightness and dark. You want to get some more dark grey in there, so I've added a bit more black to my grey. It's not actual black, it's still the grey mixture with black added. And you put that on the tree as well, because it's always, think of where your light source is, which side the light is and which side would be more in shadow. Now in the book I go into way more details. I paint on leaves, individual leaves on the tree like ivy, you know, loads of detail. Right, here I'm stippling on, now I've actually mixed up some cocoa butter and some blue. A sky blue is a great colour to do for this. You can also mix it in with alcohol as well. And I'm using the really expensive thing that is a piece of kitchen paper. A bit of yellowy, I think I mixed in some sunflower yellow with this. I've got some lovely warm yellows there. So a lemon yellow, a sunflower yellow, maybe even mix a bit of marigold in there. Don't completely block out all of the sunlight. You can see I've left a patch of blue sky coming through. Then get in there with your greens. So start with your base mix, then add a bit of lighter green, then add a bit of darker green, and you're ever making that mixture deeper and deeper and deeper. So today I'm just painting on all of this shrubbery. Now the woodland cake in the book has got the honey moss cake recipe on there as well. So we're just painting on all of these with the cocoa butter as well. So you're getting, you know, it's like the spring, the leaves are growing on the trees, they're getting darker as they get older, they haven't quite turned to autumn, but even in the height of summer, there are brown leaves at the base of the woodland, aren't there? Because the leaves are always being shed off the trees. But head over and have a little look at the book anyway for the actual finished cake. You did obviously see a close-up of it on the front cover, and you can see Luna the cat's paw prints on the floor. So every chapter page of my book is another page in the story of Cyril's cake adventure. Chapter 1 is the paw print, so this is why this was chapter 2. This is called In the Woods. But it is a nice thing to do, and it's very relaxing, isn't it? I'm quite relaxed just watching. But I do really hope you enjoyed it. Do click like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.